Good morning, everyone. Today is January the 18th, and as you can see, I'm definitely not at the gym this morning. I decided to give my body a week's rest because of much need of it. I can tell usually when I'm going at it really hard there, and my body is saying that, hey, Kurt, you got to give it a break there. Now, we're going to talk about here is called the parable of the lost son. Now, this is in Luke 15, verse 11 through 31. And it says, Jesus continued, there was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me a share of my estate. So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs was eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare? Here I am starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servant, Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and he is found. So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. Your brother has come, he replied, and your father was killed and fattened calf because he had him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, come home, you kill the fattening calf for him. My son, the father said, you are always with me and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now he is found. I can relate to this story as well, and I'm pretty sure many of you can relate to this story. That is what God is telling us. Now, we can go out here and act a fool. Trust me, I've done my share. And he gives us the opportunity. That's a choice that we make. We decide to make whichever we decide to do. We can follow him or we can't. But when we follow him, you got to remember, God forgives. He's going to give us a hug, going to welcome us home. Will human beings do that, all people? No, because what happened when we do start to make changes and God forgives us and, we try to make from the faith and from true spiritual training, not doing it just to be doing it now. That's one thing we get to make that clear. If we decided to let God come into our lives, we think God don't know what's going on in our mindset. But we got to realize that God has an open door policy for all of us to come home. Now, of course, there are some people who, even though they are called living a perfect life, think they have never done anything, they get upset when some of us who do make changes in our lives, instead of being forced, they are just like with their son there. And they don't realize, say, wait a minute, you got it all. Why are you upset because somebody making change? You should be happy. We all make mistakes, see, but that's the difference, like I said, with God. See, God sees the mistakes and he knows our heart. And he knows we want to make changes. That's why they always say if one person turns themselves around, there's a big celebration going on in heaven. But some of us, like I said, we are just like that prodigal son who went out there that God gave us all to us. And, you know, you're seeing so many people who have done these things, might have got involved with drugs, you know, they have to be prostitute or anything else, adultery, a lot of things that they thought would make them happy. But the key to it, that you say, you know what, I'm going back home. And God has that open door policy for all of us. He forgives for every single thing. As long as we follow him and continue on that journey, that's what he wants us to do. That's a celebration. And some of you who you think you are so perfect, very perfect there, nobody is not getting over on anything. I'm a true believer, a person that changed, and I'm still trying to make those changes and make those gratifications and make me a better person. But along the way, I want everybody to know that you got a God that really cares about you. He's concerned about you, and his door is always open, even though some of these human beings out here would shut the door in your face and say, get out of my face. So you got to remember, once again, those of you who think that God doesn't love you, that door is always open. And trust me, the things that he has helped me out and continue to help me out and keep me to learn about life is something that I'm making sure I spread to everybody. And which is the one thing that God has is unforgiving love. He loves us. He's not when he forgives us. He has forgiven love. Sorry about that one for some of you with the grammar there, but like I say, he has forgiven love. God loves us. Most humans don't, but remember, God loves us. Until next week, I'll be back at the gym. Everyone please have a wonderful week.